Hey everybody, welcome back to Marvel Live here at New York Comic Con 2015. My name is Ben Morse. I am the senior editor of Marvel.com. I am joined by writer extraordinaire and good pal of the show, Kieron Gillen. Kieron?
Good to be here.
I was going to say, that's your cue to talk. Say whatever you want.
Right, yeah. I'll stand here and be silent.
Yeah.
And not stand, sliding up the camera, manfully starting a fight.
Just stay here, look good in a suit,
Thank
the
you.
whole deal. A lot of people are rocking. Riley Brown was up here earlier with the blazer and t-shirt look. Is this popular among the comic book community now?
It's kind of like a good low maintenance look I found. It's very much like late. I used to do it in the 90s.
Yeah.
I kind of got back in the late noughties to use the word. Before the camera, we were discussing the word noughties.
Yeah.
It's right. It's low maintenance. It looks basically okay. And I normally wear a t-shirt. Yesterday I was actually wearing a tie I got for my birthday.
Yeah, you usually are rocking it all the way.
It's skull tie,
Nice.
so I looked ridiculously goth, like nouveau cuisine goth. Anyway, but yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a very easy way to make you look semi-smart.
I agree. You walked in and I was like, I want him to do my taxes immediately.
You don't.
So of course you're working on Darth Vader. I think when we talked to you last, you were getting ready to jump onto Darth Vader. Now, about a year in or so.
I just finished writing the script for issue 15 this morning.
Yeah, you guys are pouring them out.
Yeah. It's
Salva draws them very quickly.
You feeding. I remember talking to Matt Fraction before starting to work with Salva, and he talked. Of course, he did all of Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's like feeding the machine.
Yeah.
There must always be fuel in the engine, and it's like you can pretty much draw them faster. You can write them.
Yeah.
But this one was it's the last issue of Vader Down.
Oh,
so
cool.
I got to do the final part and type all the jokes.
Yeah.
And there's been an amazing. Me and Jason are good friends, and we've worked together for a long time.
Yep.
But it's the first time we've done something that is as intensely collaborative in terms of the back and forth, and we've just been messing with each other. And that kind of we've done such horrible stuff to each other's cast. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the level of comedy. Jason wrote the scenes when the droids meet for the first time.
Yeah.
His droids, obviously.
Which I think is what everyone has been waiting for.
And my evil droids.
Yes.
And the scene where BT and R2 go at it literally had me in stitches when reading. It was astounding.
How cool is it to see the characters because that's one of the cool things about the Darth Vader book is you've created so many characters. I think when people initially saw it, they're like, Darth Vader, great character, so much mystery to him. Can he kind of sustain his own thing? And one of your solutions has been you surrounded him with this great supporting cast, and now you get to see them interacting with characters beyond Vader. How cool is that?
Basically, I would just sample what you've said and play it back. That's exactly what it feels like. The idea of, when Han and Aphra face off.
Yeah.
This is a big grin moment, and how they treat each other.
Yeah.
And a lot of the interactions seem really, really natural. Just kind of like. When designing the supporting cast for Vader, it was very trying to work out something that feels archetypes that feel like Star Wars.
Right.
And quite often big archetypes. Aphra is kind of the Indiana Jones, the adventurer. So it's a little bit Han Solo-y, but also in a very different kind of space. Like Inspector Fanoff, who is it in the crossover? It's me doing a Sherlock Holmes archetype in the Star Wars universe. That kind of really big ideas, and that's what Star Wars is about. The kind of a very big archetype you hit hard and you hit it, and that's what the power is in trying to what isn't done in Star Wars, what is also fundamentally Star Wars, if you know what I mean. So that's and seeing on the same page, I grin like an idiot.
Yeah.
It's exactly as good as you might think.
You have a very nice grin. Don't insult yourself like that. But the evil droids have been the big hit. Aphra's great. I love her. She's a great character. But just the sheer genius of, oh my God, Kieron's going to bring in these evil droids. Where'd the idea come from?
It generally was like when I was. It was sort of logically putting stuff together.
Yeah.
It's like when I want to have Darth Vader, I need to surround him with interesting people because Vader, if he talks too much, the character fails.
Yes.
And you need other characters to do the exposition and make it work.
That's always the challenge with a villain book because if you get too much inside the villain's head, they start to become sympathetic. And Vader's certainly sympathetic to a point, but you don't want to make him too much.
Oh no, I would agree entirely. So I thought that one interesting solution, and the other problem is, if it's an Empire book, the Imperials are kind of boring.
Yeah.
And when I say boring in terms they don't say anything funny, they walk around being very serious. It's all about being fascists. They are space fascists.
Yes.
And so in other words, a book entirely that inside the Empire would not feel like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because Star Wars is about action and romance and comedy.
Yeah.
So in other words, I have to basically work out a way a Darth Vader book can feel like Star Wars. Yeah. And the way I did was literally the Dark Mirror. So the team is, Aphra takes a Han Solo-esque role. Luke is actually kind of the Vader character. Sorry, Vader is the Luke character. And the droids, so I basically inverted the droids. Yeah. And I put a few spins. And there's a little bit of influence from HK-47 from the Knights of the Old Republic game, who was such an amazing character. And to be honest, I've got a long history of writing psychotic droids.
Yes.
I've Unit and 451 and and assorted other characters.
Wow, yeah. I immediately recognized Unit when I was reading The Droids and Darth Vader, but I totally forgot about 451. You really do have a type.
Yes, it's like, Unit was always kind of he's very competent. So Unit also had how to phrase it? He had ethics.
Yes.
Unit was doing it for a reason.
Yes.
And he's part of trying to make them different.
Yeah.
Unit was very happy with everything he did. 451 was literally very paranoid and anxious about everything he did, but also kind of did evil things. Meanwhile, 000 literally doesn't care.
Yeah.
000 is like, he's not even doing it for a good reason.
Yeah.
He's doing it for...
He's not even gleeful.
Yeah.
He's just there.
This is just like, occasionally people bleed and it's funny. So it's that kind of me whilst doing a similar archetype. And plus there was even like how I did with Sinister. There's some of my Sinister in terms of Dr. Silo.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that. So it's like me mixing some stuff I like in. And that's not about writing for me. It's like finding angles on stuff you like, but not repeating those angles.
Yeah, just finding like different tweaks to do it.
Yeah. And they were very, and they are very easy characters to write. I hate saying that because, I can get immediate my pay doctor now because these are easy to write.
That's what we're all about here on here on Marvel Live, trying to get people's pay docs.
Yeah, but it was, you sit and they kind of do something funny. You put anything in front of 000 and he'll say something amusing about it.
Yeah.
You basically do a 3PO voice, then kill somebody. It's good.
That's brilliant. So when we talked to you last time, I remember you were kind of just starting to feel Vader's voice because obviously, again, the challenge there is
I feel the power of the dark side.
Obviously, the challenge there is this is not just a popular movie character. This is a pop culture phenomenon, and you're trying to put your own spin on him. A year in, what have you learned as far as writing Darth Vader?
I think I kind of learned by contrast. It's one of these things that by how difficult or like how unsure I am about Han or Leia or Luke. And so when I'm writing them, I become aware of how firm I now feel Vader. It's one of those things as you kind of, when a voice is natural to you, it is kind of natural. And a lot of you edit and you use and you kind of delete lines.
Yeah.
My process of writing Vader is deleting lines. And you've got to realise what things work. And one of the things that we often do is like the single panel flashback.
Yeah.
So we don't give a voice saying what the flashback means.
Right, just a visual.
But the idea of you can maybe read into this if you wish, and that allows you to keep a distance from him. And there's so much about the mystery. And the problem isn't even Vader. The problem is what people do around Vader.
Yeah.
So it's like we're talking about the comedy. People can't make jokes by Vader. If you're making the joke in the same mood as Vader, that reduces Vader.
Yeah.
And so you've got to bear a kind of twitchiness.
Yeah.
And like even after when she's being funny, it's because she's clearly running her mouth off because she's petrified. And the droids, even the droids are kind of whispering as he goes past. So yeah, it's like kind of much more the things how you keep Darth Vader is almost less the voice and more like everything around him.
It's interesting, yeah, because when you
start, it's how the camera plays on him. Not
absolutely.
Use that metaphor.
Yeah, no, because absolutely. I mean, it goes back to what you were saying about the supporting cast. I remember when you started the book, it was just Vader, and he was talking a lot, and I was wondering, well, Kieron's got to have some sort of sarcastic character here. How is he going to handle this? And I don't want that. You mentioned Vader Down, which is a big event coming up. It's the first crossover we've done in the Star Wars universe at Marvel between Darth Vader, your book, and Star Wars, Jason Aaron's book. Can you tell folks who maybe don't know the details, obviously, like you said, you're not going to spoil anything, what's the premise of Vader Down?
I mean, it's one of the things where we were thinking, okay, we want to do a big Marvel-style event, and because, there's a movie coming out of this, so we thought maybe, there'll be let's do something really big. That seems to make sense.
Yeah.
And we thought, okay, we want to have a high concept, which fundamentally... somebody who anyone understands the basics of Star Wars will get it. And the high concept is, Darth Vader alone against a rebel army. He can't call for backup.
Yeah.
So it's just Vader facing a wall of guns.
It's so cool that he's the underdog. Yeah. Like that's against type almost.
And it's one of those kind of like, and then how does that play out? So that's kind of thing you say that, and you say it to my mum, you say it to anyone who actually knows Darth Vader, which is everybody.
Yeah, it's everybody.
I understand why you may want to see that.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the apex, or like the climax of the story so far, in terms of like this all isn't just like a random event. This is stuff that comes out of everything I've been building over the last 12 issues, what Jason's been building. So it's that kind of it's what a crossover is for.
Yeah.
I mean, readers always get angry when crossovers quote unquote come out of nowhere, and this is very much this is like an orchestral swelling, if you will. Yeah. Wow, that was really pretentious, even for me.
No, that was good though. It was good. It was very plain to type.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's Darth Vader versus alone versus a rebel army, and everything else swimming around him.
You talked about how you and Jason have been working on the event together. How closely in the first year have you guys been going back and forth to make sure? Because I know a lot of times you'll see a scene in his book and then you'll see it again in your book. So how closely are you guys working together? How much of that is the editors?
Oh, it's basically we see each other's outlines and we kind of know, like,
cool.
We had the first meeting when we went to present to Lucas. we sat in the pub all evening and we just brainstormed. We talked very intensely. We're like, okay, we start here, we end here, and we knew the end of the first arc is Vader discovers, spoilers, he's Luke's father.
Oh my God!
Who knew? But that kind of,
if anyone hasn't seen Star Wars, like
literally somebody's literally angry on the internet right now.
Probably.
What? But that kind of, we knew that was the apex, and how we got there. And it's okay. We'll start with Darth Vader gets Boba Fett to go and look for Luke. That's how the book sort of moves. And then my thing was, okay, what I'm going to set up, which is my other kind of arc. You know what I mean? There's always the bits that cross over and interplay we talk about.
There's the bigger story, and then there's
we create a structure to like pass stuff back and forth. And the second arc was very much like, well, the book's going to go separate for this arc. So like we explore our own world, we add extra stuff. So we get Luke looking into, realising he's not a good enough Jedi Knight, so he's trying to find ways to be a better Jedi Knight. Yeah. And in my case, he realised that Vader knows I have a son. So I need to A, secure my power base, B, understand that the Emperor is basically messing with me in ways he has discovered. So I need to investigate my son. I mean, how can I have a son? There was no evidence of this. So, the last episode is Afra having gone to interrogate the mortician, who basically covered up the fact that, she'd given birth to kids when they were buried. You know what I mean? So that's good. We went to explore their own things. And now there's a thing that happens in both our books that bring them back together again.
Nice.
So it's like we always do the event that kind of, you know what I mean? How the bits that connect, and then we writers, we like to run free. Even like with the crossover, we worked out the beats quite intensely. We worked out each issue, we got it approved.
Sure.
But there's so much in the execution, we've just kind of, it's like they meet and they fight and fun stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like we haven't really talked. So when I get the scripts back and seeing who actually wins this fight and why, how did they win, and that's a lot of fun.
That's so fun. All right, I want to pivot off Darth Vader for just a second. You just wrapped up Siege,
yes,
which was a delightful, and I say delightful in that it was very entertaining, not that it was necessarily happy and feel good.
No, delightful is the word I would use. It's one of those things that's delightful yet horrific.
It was this great series that you did tying into Secret Wars. And the kind of cool thing was for me is it really was a chance for you to almost do a greatest hits, kind of revisit a lot of the characters you've been writing the last few years, whether it was Agent Brand or some of the Young Avengers or Leia or even Unit, who you mentioned earlier. Was that part of the intention to kind of, because I know you're writing Darth Vader now, but you're not on any of the all new, all different Marvel books that we've announced. And so was this a chance to kind of like, one last hurrah with these characters?
It was a bit, I kind of realised in the summit I was at when we were discussing Secret Wars, I haven't got time to take on it. I looked at my schedule, I knew what I was doing between my indie work and stuff I'd promised to do for other publishers and, everything. I just haven't got time for any more stuff for the Marvel Universe, which was weird.
Yeah,
and then I realised, I should do a proper goodbye to it for now.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, me and Marvel, we're working on Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And, it's not like...
You're not gone.
Yeah, I'm not gone, but you never know.
You're still on the show right now.
But you never know.
Yeah.
That kind of like... Because I've seen, people never quite realise when the last book could be.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if this might be my last sort of event I'm tied into...
Go out on a high.
I will do this. So when I heard the mention of the wall, as it was called then... I believe I suggested it should be called the Shield. I think that was actually one of mine.
Nice.
Good
for you.
Thank you. Obviously, it's the Shield. It's the Marvel Universe. It's the Shield.
Yeah.
But I thought this is a really interesting, that kind of desperate siege story. I love siege stories. And the idea that, knowing that spoilers, really is spoilers to Secret Wars 6, the wall would come down by Thanos, that's a really good tragic story. The idea of these people, they're stuck on this wall, there's no way they can ever win. And I use that as I thought that's an interesting way to punish heroes and a lot of my interesting themes. And it really was, I just threw every character I liked. It's one of the things that came to me, I wrote a list in that summit. And I thought, I've got an idea, literally in that room, I pitched a story off the top of my head. And it was Nick Lowe said, Kieron, this literally is just your greatest hits, isn't it? So yeah, it was kind of hearing some like, characters I've loved. Not all the characters I've ever loved.
Yeah.
Namor's not in there, Loki's not in there.
I very much missed Sexy Namor being in there. That was very disappointing.
There wasn't a place for Sexy Namor.
There's always a place for Sexy Namor. Could have been there somewhere, but...
And there was also actually characters I've never written. I've always loved Kang the Conqueror. I've always loved Thanos.
I was wondering, when Kang showed up, I was like, what book did Kieron write him in? And I was like, oh no, he's actually using a new character as well.
I always like Kang is it's one of my favourite... It's just a great word. Kang.
Kang. Absolutely.
So you just say, also KG. Which of course, is my initials.
Yeah, very special.
So it's that kind of just drag my favourite characters and take them for a ride and trying to sum up everything I love about the Marvel Universe. Because it's a very silly story.
Yeah.
And so, there's, Kang's surfing on the corpse of Nick the Fury into a wall of timelines.
So many great ideas in that book. That it was just, it was almost felt like you didn't have enough issues to put them all in, but it was great.
But, despite being so silly, it's utterly tragic.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of me... trying to say something fun, something about I love about superhero comics. The idea of dare you take this seriously?
Well, I think that sums up.
And you should. You know, that kind of level of there's a leap of
Yeah.
faith.
Well, I think it sums up a lot of the stuff you did over the last few years. You know, whether it was Journey into Mystery or Young Avengers or Iron Man. Uncanny X-Men, all that stuff, you know, it was definitely mixing the kind of, I'm going to make you laugh and laugh and laugh, and then when you don't realize it, I'm going to make you cry.
Yeah. That was very much like the full feeling. And some of it was like, I sort of knew the characters' arcs, and, you know, there's some stuff like stories I never told.
Yeah.
Like stuff like with the units was kind of like, and stuff with Abigail Brand, also like stories, or kind of alternate version stories of stuff we would have done in Sword.
Yeah.
So in other words, like, you know, Abigail, no one's ever done Abigail Brand's origin, ever.
Yeah.
And there is some notes from Joss, and, you know, me and Nick talked about it. Cool. So that there is a proper Abigail origin that Marvel has never told, and that's kind of implicit in all her appearances. So Abigail Brand's origin for the Shield is basically me riffing on what it was, the story which Marvel has never told about. Nice. So eventually, if they one day tell that story and it stays the same, they'll go, oh yeah, that's what Kieron was referencing. But yeah, it's just I want to do something fun.
Yeah,
that's kind of, I had so much work to do this year, and there's no way. I thought if it's going to be something that breaks my heart, this has to be like I have to be laughing on every page.
And just those double page spreads and all that.
That wasn't even that was actually Jake's idea. I would never have suggested that.
That was so cool.
Because basically that's so much work.
The Sienkiewicz one in the last issue is amazing.
I said like. I actually want to write the pages. I sort of see this in Billy Sienkiewicz vision. Yeah. You know, there was an element of like, also let's work with a load of artists I've loved and never worked with.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But yeah, that was the idea.
It was a great.
I said it was Jake. Like, there's no way I would give that much work to an editor.
Yeah. It was a great project to kind of, like you said, do your love letter to what you did.
Not like a bookend. I like to think. You know,
it was a beautiful bookend. Of course, you're still going to be on Darth Vader. That's going to be coming out. Make sure you guys check out Vader Down. Thank you for all your amazing work over the past few years. It sounds like I'm like sending you off, but no.
Giving me a gold watch.
You're still here. Give you a gold watch. But where can people find you on social media?
They can find me literally almost everywhere. I'm Kieron Gillen on Twitter. I'm Kieron Gillen on Tumblr. I'm KieronGillen.com. I believe I'm Kieron Gillen on Instagram. They're like the main ones.
If anyone has another Kieron Gillen out there, he's looking to take it from you.
Yeah, so please. Face the mirror, say Kieron Gillen 5 times, and I will appear behind you.
It's true. It's very disturbing when you're getting ready in the morning. Thanks for coming on, Kieron. Thanks for everything you're doing. Guys, be sure to check out Darth Vader, and stay tuned here on Marvel Live here at New York Comic Con 2015.